Hello everyone and welcome back to Dragalia Foundry. Today's video is going to be all about our Mercurial Gauntlet update. We had our Victor's Trove reset today, so you can see me collecting my rewards. I'm going to show off my clear of the first level of the Gauntlet, level 21, and then I'll go into some higher level clears. I was feeling pretty prepared for the Shadow element, or Light Roy, since Shadow tends to be a pretty stacked element. You have access to Dragalia, you have Bleed, there's units with high personal DPS like Natalie, and the day before this, one of our helpers suggested over on the Discord that it might be good practice to see if we could use our Shadow teams to clear Flame 50. Because the Flame Gauntlet at level 50 has 1,700,000 HP, and the Light Gauntlet has 2,700,000. So the idea being that if you could clear the Flame Gauntlet with a Shadow team, then hopefully with the Elemental bonus, you would be in pretty good shape going into the Light Gauntlet. So I'm going to show that off next after we get through this clear of the first level of the Gauntlet. That clear was really fun to do, to take my Shadow team into Flame Roy, kind of experiment and learn my rotations, and basically I was using Ieyasu for Bleed and the Strength co-ability. I was using Curran because the Axe AI is pretty good. I had my Bleed covered in the form of Ieyasu. Curran has a nice debuff, and I had a nice 5-star Axe for him. Then I was using Valentine's Ezolith as a burn enabler to let me use 2 elegant escorts on my other units, as well as a skill haste bot and a defense debuffer, so she serves a multi-purpose role. And it's also nice because I didn't have a 4th really good Shadow Dragon, so by using her, I was able to bring in my Kono Hanasakaya, who is Max Unbound. And then finally, of course, I had Dragalia, and Dragalia does what Dragalia does best. She does a lot of damage herself and provides a lot of team support with her buff zone and the debuff on the enemy. So I was able to knock out Flame 50 without any water units, and I was feeling good. I was feeling ready to take on the higher levels of Light MG, but sadly it was a lot harder than I expected at this point. So basically I started going through Light MG, and so far I've been able to clear through 41. I'm at a plateau on 42 right now, and it might be possible to get it with perfect RNG, but I'm already thinking about what I can really do to push myself over the top, since I'm quite a ways from 50 at this point. Now thankfully the big reward this time around, if you've been keeping up with the gauntlets, is at level 200 for your total level. That's going to be when you can collect a 7th Twinkling Sand from the Victor's Trove every month. And right now I'm at level 211 out of 220, so I can collect most of the good rewards. And I have the whole rest of the month to work on this, and that's one thing I really want to encourage you is to be patient. You know, you might summon something that ends up being a better investment for you than what you have access to now. So don't necessarily go crazy 50-noting your characters, spending your precious Champion's Testaments before you actually summon on the anniversary, since you might get some really good things that end up going into your team and push you quite a ways. Just keep that in mind. That's something I have to remind myself to do because I'm kind of impatient. I want to try and knock this out before High Zodiarc's trial, but I think it's going to be for the best that I take it a little slower. I already invested in my Ieyasu, my Natalie, and also into Valentine's Ezolith for this, so I've made some pretty heavy investments already with the Elgewater I got back from last month's clears and this month's Victor's Trove reset. In any case, you can see I was able to clear 39, which is where you get the Sunlight Stone, and that lets you unbind a 5-star dragon of your choice fairly easily. That is one of the levels that you want to try clear in every gauntlet if you can, because you get a really good reward from that, and kind of the best reward sort of top off at that point. Afterward, you're getting some augments, you're getting some other things, some epithets, but they're not quite as good as something like that. Level 40 down are also 1-minute fights, so the dynamic is a little bit different. For those, I actually feel like it's pretty good to have multiple bleed units because you want to escalate to 3 bleed stacks relatively quickly. You don't have a long time to ramp up to 3 stacks. And burn is definitely worse because the boss is going to enter into overdrive fast, and that's going to reset your burn. It's going to be a while before Valentine's Ezolith or your other burn bot can actually re-enable it. So keep that in mind. 1-minute fights are different than 2-minute fights. You want to be casting your helpers more proactively because you don't have 2 minutes to draw out the fight and use those more as a reaction against claps. Thankfully, the level 40 down were okay for me. I didn't have too many problems. I was using Botan instead of Valentine's Ezolith for that with Phantom equipped. Basically for that reason I just said of wanting more bleed and less burn. 41 is where I started to hit a wall. So I tried several times to clear with Ieyasu and Kurin, and what I decided to do was actually switch over to Natalie because I realized that Botan was actually a lot better AI than I gave her credit for. Botan can keep 3 stacks of bleed under AI control. And the thing is, with bleed, you just need 1 good run in order to pull off an MG clear. Now, unfortunately, bleed does have 80% accuracy, so 1 in 5 times it's gonna miss, and that can kind of screw up your run if you have a lot of bleed misses, and sometimes even 1 miss on bleed can end your run or make it so that you can't clear if you're on the bubble, as I am. But there's really not a big difference between Botan doing that as AI and the player doing it. So I found that by using Natalie as my blade, I was able to bring in a better unit than Kurin. It wasn't so much that Natalie's crazy better than Ieyasu, it's that Botan is better than Kurin, and so rather than doubling up on bleed, I did want to have another powerhouse in my lead, and Natalie definitely fit that bill. She was able to clear 41 for me, and you can see some of the really high damage she does on her first skill as long as she's at low HP. I still haven't quite worked out how I want to use my dragon in this fight, and my Shadow Dracolith is still leveling up. It's only like level 3 at this point, but that is another factor to consider. Is once that's max level, that's a plus 20% bonus damage to your Shadow Dragons. Now obviously, these days, a lot of units have better DPS than their dragon forms do, so it's not necessarily a guarantee that you even want to shapeshift, but sometimes that's your only way to throw up an iframe, or you're at the end of the match and you want that burst damage. And I think Shinobi is relatively good for a dragon in any case, so it didn't feel too bad to try and incorporate some shapeshifts here. Eventually, I think I will be able to clear 42 if I keep trying at it, but I'm gonna just wait and see. I don't want to spend so much time trying to eke out 1 level when I still have quite a ways to go. I'm thinking that I might want to bring in another more powerful dragon into my team. I'm using 2 Juggernauts on my AI, Shinobi on my lead, and then Sakuya on my Ezolith. Alternatively, I have seen Elisanne being used for this very effectively. Right now, my Leviathan, who inflicts Bog, is only at 3 unbindings, so if I am able to pick one up during the anniversary, or maybe I'll decide to spend a stone on one, then I could try and incorporate her into my team comp as well, since Bog plus team buffs is a pretty powerful way to go for this as well. I've seen that be very effective for people, and it's been used in some clears of 50. There are all sorts of clears of 50 that I've seen, some of which do not use bleed at all. They use a complete mono-type team. Others use Valentine's Ezolith for burn, and others use Elisanne for Bog and buffs, or even Summer Julieta for the same purpose, and hoping to line up a really nice Bog during break. In any case, I'm kind of looking forward to actually getting to play this one out a little bit more than last month, where my Wind team, or the Water Gauntlet, just went by really fast for me. I hope that you're enjoying the Gauntlet update yourself. Let me know what adventures have been working for you, what strategies have been working for you. Hopefully some of this footage you can put to good use, so you can at least see how I do my rotations with 15% skill haste off that Valentine's Ezolith, or maybe you can even give me some feedback if you think there's things I could do a little better. But I've also heard other units who do quite well in this include Alex. Even though she's not the best under AI control, she has a nice co-ability. She has a full HP passive that is active in MG, so that's great. I've also heard that other Shadow Adventurers can be used decently well, but I think that that's kind of it. I don't know that there's a big expanse of weaker or lower rarity adventurers that have been brought into this just yet. And Galo Cleo almost seems like a must-have with how much HP this particular Roy has. So if you don't have Galo Cleo, you might be in trouble for this one. Maybe they'll continue their tradition of having an on-element buff bot. That almost seems like a direct response to Galo Cleo, the way that we got first Summer Estelle, who was a little on the weaker side. I mean, she's obviously very powerful, but she's not as focused on buffs since it's on her second skill. But I think that's kind of intentional since Water already had Ellie. Then we got Noelle, who was absolutely awesome. Really a standout also because Freya exists and no other element has a dragon like that. And then we got Emma, who's also been fantastic. So if you weren't able to clear any of those past elements in previous months, this could be your time. If you've been getting some of those adventurers, starting to invest in them, this is a good time to try catch up on that as well. We're getting more and more tools for the job. Maybe we'll start getting some weapon and dragon augments. That could really help push things over the top as well. We'll have to wait and see, of course, but that's going to do it for this video. If I'm able to make any more progress and clear the gauntlet, I will make another video to let you know. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you later this week if there's any news that comes out. Otherwise, the next time you'll see me is for hopefully a clear or at least some impressions of High Zodiarch's trial. So once again, thank you as always for watching. Take care, and I'll see you next time.
こんなんでお開きかよ。